morning, Deputy Nolen.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
You were lead detective on this case originally,
Yes, sir.
and that lasted 3 months.
Yes, sir.
You were replaced by Detective Downs.
Yes, sir.
What was the reason for that?
I switched to
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
When you arrived on the scene, you were one of the first people to arrive on this scene on Jarvis, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you arrived, that scene was already secured.
Yes, sir.
You met with crime scene technician Van Was at the scene?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you take crime scene technician Van Was on a walkthrough?
We do an initial walkthrough, yes, sir.
You and Ms. Van Was were in the kitchen, of course,
Yes.
and while you were there, was the body of Dr. Sievers still present?
Yes, it was.
You'd been a detective at that time for how long?
At the time, 2015, about 11 years, sir.
So you'd been to many crime scenes,
Yes, sir.
many homicide scenes.
Yes, sir.
You have training in blood analysis.
That's more forensics. We have some training going through medical legal homicide training, yes.
So in your capacity as a homicide detective, you're familiar with blood analysis.
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with a term cast-off?
Yes, sir.
Objection, beyond the scope of direct.
Overruled.
And cast-off is a type of blood spray that occurs when a weapon hits a blood source, correct? And then
Well-
is removed from the blood source,
Yes, sir.
creating a spray of
Objection,
blood.
compound question.
Overruled.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
There are ways to analyze cast-off where it can be determined whether it's forward cast-off or reverse cast-off, correct?
I'm unaware of that, sir. That's
Okay.
not my expertise.
But cast-off is something you're familiar with.
Yes, sir.
You recognize it when you see it.
Yes, sir.
You didn't see any cast-off at this site, correct?
Most of the blood level was at a lower level, yes.
Now, that blood that was at a lower level, that blood is characterized as being spattered, correct? That's a different type of blood spray.
Yes, sir.
So that blood occurs, that type of pattern occurs when a source is, there's an established blood source, a wound, and an item, a weapon hits that blood source and causes dispersion, correct?
Yes, sir. There are other factors as well, though. If there's something blocking the cast off from making its transition from in direction, then that's going to also diffuse. That can change how the blood spatter actually happens.
But that's more of a theoretical statement. That's speculation. That wasn't your observation
Objection,
here.
counsel's testifying.
Sustained.
The dispersion of the blood that you observed on the site in the kitchen was very low, correct?
Yes, sir.
You observed no blood on the ceiling,
I didn't observe any, no, sir.
no blood on the walls above about 2.5 feet.
No, sir.
That's all I have, Detective. Thank you.
Thank you.
Detective Nolen, since we're going to talk about blood, did your, based on your training and experience, did you see any indication that Teresa Sievers was killed anywhere else other than in that kitchen?
No, sir.
Did the blood spatter or lack of cast off indicate that Teresa Sievers was not bludgeoned to death?
Objection calls for speculation.
Well, we just talked about it.
Overruled.
Did your training experience indicate regarding the blood spatter, lack of cast off, indicate to you that Teresa Sievers was not bludgeoned to death?
No, sir.
Were there any conclusions that you made from reviewing the blood spatter that were inconsistent with the scene as you observed it that day?
With the violent damages to Miss Sievers' head and the amount of blood that was on the ground, I was surprised that it wasn't cast off on the ceiling.
But there was blood spatter in the vicinity of Dr. Sievers.
Yes, there was, and pooling as well.
And that blood spatter and that pooling were consistent with her injuries?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
But once again, as you told ASA Hunter, you were surprised that there was no cast off.
Yes, sir.
Nothing further.
Is this witness to be released or retained?
He's free to go, Your Honor.
No objection, defense?
He's released.
Okay, you're free to go. Thank you, sir.